What is going on, Phillies fans? Well, the sweep is just out of the order right now because the Phillies lose tonight 2-1 in a pitcher's duel in the desert, we'll call it tonight. A 2-1 victory for the Diamondbacks. No run support for Ranger. Actually, no run support for anybody at all. The Phillies get to score off one wild pitch and then a walk-off for Marte in the ninth against Kimbrel, which we're going to talk about there. We'll break this all down. It was, if you were a pitcher, if you were a fan of pitching, this was the game for you. Guys, I want to remind you this is brought to you by our great sponsors over at SherryNGLaw.com, DolansBar.com, PhillySportsTrips.com, as well as Sherry'sTickets.com. We will be joined by Joey Marks from the Patterson Fanatics probably in the next 10 minutes-ish or so. We'll let you know. But we're going to get our first comments out, get everybody's comments in, and we'll be joined by Joe. I'm here with Mike Lauro, giving you the Fighting's final. Mike,
dude, pitching. Listen, the young man. I don't want to butcher his name. For Dot, I believe it. For Bot, I don't. I'm sorry if I butchered his name.
I did it about 10 times. I had to work.
He was excellent tonight for the Diamondbacks. He finished up with he went 5 2/3, literally 2 hits, no runs, 9 Ks. Like he was on. But for us too, Ranger Suarez went out there and did his thing. Ranger went 5 1/3, only gave up 3 hits and 1 walk, and he had 7 strikeouts. So between those two guys, Al, they had literally I'm going to disagree with Matty there. Saying
I know Matty, and I know him and Pat they did a post game show, and that's when Kirkering, didn't have the greatest outing at all. But he's a young guy, he has no experience. Why are you bringing out him? And
he's got a 2.25 ERA,
even after all that. Yeah.
Even after all that, like I'm sorry, he's got to do it. What's up, Insanio? What's up, Screw Kimbrel? He doesn't belong.
I mean, that's the other thing is let's talk about that. Like every time Craig Kimbrel comes, and listen, Craig Kimbrel he has that the pedigree, we'll call it that. He's been in these postseason moments, but he isn't the Craig Kimbrel that we've known over.
He's not the Craig Kimbrel from Atlanta.
No,
like he's starting to look more and more like the Craig Kimbrel that was in Boston and Chicago. Like when he was with Chicago, they didn't even they took him off the postseason roster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a little worried about that going forward. With him, to be honest with you, I thought maybe Kimbrel was not getting the calls. The umps suck. You know what?
I give Matty B credit because he
usually doesn't go down this road. No. But if Matty's saying they're bad, then they were bad.
They were bad.
They were. But, I mean, listen, we also caught Phillies caught a break, too.
Yeah.
Phillies caught a couple breaks, too, with the same umpiring. So I'm not. Al, are you worried? Because I'm not.
No, listen, it's just a high-low, right? We were super high. We beat them game 1. We wallop them game 2. But then you see this kind of cold, no offense. Like I said, the only offense came off a wild pitch
right?
that Harper scored on at an opportune moment. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 strikeouts for your Fighting Phils.
Tonight. Actually, 14. It was actually 14.
Oh, 14. I'm sorry.
Boom.
Yeah,
boom. So, I mean, there was 23 strikeouts combined in this game tonight. I mean, the pitchers were on, and the one thing I will say, the Phillies, with what I've took notice in this game tonight, the Phillies, when they got into Arizona's bullpen, okay, one, I thought, what's his name? Troy, the Arizona manager.
Yeah,
Lavelle. Troy Lavelle. He made the biggest mistake. That kid was untouchable tonight, and you pull him only after 70 pitches?
It just seems to be that's what analytics tells them. I mean, they didn't do much different. It's like they go through the order twice. No matter if it's good or bad, they're gonna pull them. But this is something Christopher brought up, and I kind of thought about this earlier. The Phillies always struggle against pitchers they've never seen.
No.
They really do. They always let these young pitchers come up that they always seem to struggle. It's a good point, Chris. I was thinking about that today when they announced who was pitching. But yeah, they always seem to have the struggles against unseen, at bats against these guys, and I guess that's why they pull them, because they know through two rounds through the lineup, and that's enough for them.
Yeah, Sean Kilran says no worries here. Bring on game 4. That's what I say. I mean, you got to look at it. Phillies flew cross country. They did put up. And if you're looking at it too, time of day could be a thing too. Like they're leaving time zones. This game was a 2:00 in the afternoon game start out there today. So, to me, I think it looks real rosy for the Phillies going forward. Unfortunately, Al, I think as you wanted Saturday off, and I'm blaming this on Al because Al goes he wanted Saturday off.
I want to sweep because I want to take Saturday off.
He wanted to take Saturday.
I may be getting divorced now that Saturday is not off.
Yeah,
but like I said, I'm not worried about it. And real quick, because we're gonna have our guest on in a moment. I remind you guys that this show is brought to you by CherryInjuryLaw.com. David R. Cherry. If you thought the umps were criminal tonight, he is the guy you're going to call. If you get hurt at work, hurt in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, criminal law, he will fight for your rights. 610-565-0300, CherryInjuryLaw.com. Again, that number is 610-565-0300, CherryInjuryLaw.com. And you know what, Mike? You already got people blaming me because I wanted a sweep. Oh, God forbid I wanted a sweep. Jeez, Mary.
Yeah. I thought I had Saturday open too, but I got a family function as well. So
yeah. So real guys, he's on the line with us now. Our boy, if you watch anything here on EOP, there might be a little bit of hiatus, but Patterson Fanatics, Joey Marks is joining us. Joe, what is going on, bud?
What is up, fellas? Rough one tonight, but not an impossible mountain to climb.
No, that's my thing is I'm not going to come on here with like end of the world, this is it for the Phillies. I mean, they're going to listen, 7-game series sweep is not an easy thing to do, okay? The Diamondbacks are a good young team. I have my druthers about Kimbrel, which we'll get into in a little bit. I've had it like I don't want to see him in the 9th inning. I'm not saying I don't want to see him again. I don't want to see him in the 9th inning.
Do you reverse him and Alvarado?
I think I relegate him to the 7th spot. But I mean,
well, to be fair, the one thing you were bringing up about Cherry injury law and like calling Craig Kimbrel might have a case against Lance Barksdale, because right now everyone on Twitter and everyone that has watched the game has said it was a missed call that he should not have missed.
No.
So look, I don't like to blame the umps to make excuses, and I'm not going to start now, but I'm not in complete disagreement with you, Al. Like the fact that your closer comes in and walks the first batter, that's never a good sign.
No, it's not a good sign, and it's I don't know how to put this. Listen, it's disheartening. The game itself, in a nutshell, is disheartening, right? I am not worried about the series going forward. The only thing I worry about is I kind of go with I subscribe to what Mike's saying here is, going across the country, different time zone,
early start.
Maybe the bats weren't for the pop. But the Phillies, I think, need to stop worrying about the pop in that place. And
yeah,
need to start playing a little bit more small ball in my eyes.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, like there were certain things tonight where fundamental baseball would have worked. Okay, Bryson Stott. We both said this. Al, we were sitting here. He should have dropped the bunt when he had the two guys on. When he had Bowman Harper on, he should have dropped the bunt to try to move him over to get him in scoring position.
And also,
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that was the turning point of the game.
And Matt, and both of y'all, I'll ask you about this. It's not just from you're not even manufacturing runs, but you're also not you maybe help manufacture a little energy that the Phillies need. I mean, what do you think, Marks? Do you believe like they were just kind of cold, or maybe tired, or maybe they're expecting to win? What do you feel like this team was showing you on the field?
Here's the thing, and I had heard this earlier in the day from Jack Fritz on 94 WIP, and it's something I didn't know because I don't watch enough Arizona Diamondbacks baseball, but they kind of took the humidor out of the stadium in Arizona. So it used to be a launching pad. It's no longer that. Now, if you go back to the game tonight, a lot of the balls that were hit pretty deep would have been out in pretty much more than 50% of the ballparks in the league. In the game tonight, they just weren't. And the fielders that are out there for Arizona are talented, and they're talented for good reason. And so that in of itself, look, the Phillies have banked on bashing the ball out of the park. And I know everybody says, well, you can't always rely on that. And I think, and that's why I go back to the stop thing. That's the epitome of you play with what's in front of you. That's a small ball that I don't care if you're exhausted with 6 hours sleep. That is fundamentals, and it just astonished me that okay, with he was up 2-0. I think he even got to 3-0, but then on a 3-1 pitch, I give him the red light. I'm telling him not to swing, like just because let the pitcher put you into a full count and then have to force the issue because Stott all year long has been a great two-strike hitter anyhow. So I was kind of shocked that he even swung. And then even more shocked that he didn't still try and attempt a bunt to get the runners over, especially with no outs. And the guy who was on the mound who was a submariner, and as the commentators were saying, this is a guy whose ultimate job is to induce ground balls for double plays. That's his mastery. So no, I don't think it had to do with being tired or usually they have day games on Thursdays anyhow during the season. So I don't think it had much to do with that as much as the way that ballpark is set up now. The kid for the Diamondbacks, the starting pitcher, he did a hell of a job. I'll give my hats off to the kid. He did a hell of a job. But when the Phillies had their opportunities, like the Stott situation, and you're not going to get a lot of opportunities, you need to take advantage of them. And the Phillies proved that they didn't. And that's got to change going forward. Despite even getting past this series, whoever you face, whether it's the Rangers or Astros, that's not going to be something you can do on the bigger stage.
Yeah, no, and listen, I don't think the Phillies left their bats in Philly. I don't think that's the problem.
I think it was a combination of a perfect storm. Really, I mean,
but I also think part of it is they're trying for that long ball too much. This isn't Citizens Bank Park. It's just becoming, I don't want to say easy, but yeah, it's been kind of coming easy to them. And I think they need to just kind of look back at this game and go, maybe we could have played a little bit better small ball. Maybe we could have, just tried to bunt when we were talking about bunting. I don't know. Like, listen, it's always easy to sit here and say coulda, shoulda, woulda. But again, we're up 2-1 in a series. It's not that's a good team there. It's a good young team that they have out there in Arizona. So would have been nice to really demoralize them and beat them again at home and be up 3-0 in the series, and knowing that there's a good chance that they're not coming back, not NLC and not NL champs.
To me, I this is where I think I don't know. I kind of look at it like this. I feel like they just kind of lived another day. I think tomorrow. I think the Phillies are going to go. I think the Phillies are going to. I think the Phillies put the squeeze on them tomorrow because this, as much as this was a great game for them, like think about it, they're going to have to try to get back up again tomorrow for tomorrow's game. That's tough to do 3 days in a row.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And we talked about this. This could be taxing on both bullpens. They both went 6 innings for the most part with their.
And this is why I like the Phillies because the Phillies still have Sanchez, Taijuan Walker, Michael Lorenzen. They still have those kind of arms that can step in and fill in. And you only really need the Phillies got to take a stranglehold tomorrow. If they take the stranglehold tomorrow, you got Zach Wheeler going Game 5.
True. Have they officially? Marks, have they officially announced who's pitching tomorrow?
No, they just said that it's a bullpen game, and they haven't announced. They may not even announce until the day early tomorrow morning. That's normally how bullpens go. I would say that they're going to go with one of their long relievers.
I think it's going to be Taijuan Walker.
I think Walker Sanchez is going to be like the first two.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, I think Walker, but I'm also I would start with Sanchez because
So would
Walker
I.
always has really bad first innings. So I would start with Sanchez and then bring in Walker.
Yeah, you know what, Joey? I agree with you there. And Sanchez has that off-speed stuff that can really, really kind of,
Yeah.
get off of that, really kind of offset that Diamondbacks lineup. I mean, other than Gurriel and Marte tonight,
Actually, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off here, but one of our commenters here, Gary Sheldon, said Sanchez is pitching. I'm going to the Phillies' probable pitchers, and they actually do have Christopher Sanchez as the probable. But this is the Phillies.com or MLB.com/Phillies. But this is the MLB.com saying that Christopher Sanchez may start off the game tomorrow.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just because you give Sanchez, similar to how both managers played tonight with their starters, you give Sanchez once through the lineup, see how far he gets you, whether it's, mid-second inning or through all three innings. And then you bring in Walker, and you got to think, if you're giving Sanchez two and a half, 2 innings, 3 innings, something to that degree, you're giving Taijuan Walker a possible lead. And if he's coming in the third or fourth inning with a 1 or 2 run lead, that gives him a little bit more comfort. And I think it would give a lot of the Phillies fans that are watching a lot more comfort. And it gives Thompson a lot more latitude too, because if Taijuan Walker were to falter, whenever he would come in, whether it be the third or fourth, you could still bring in Lorenzen.
Absolutely. And guys, real quick, I'll remind you, this is brought to you by Sherry'sTickets.com. We're talking about postseason tickets. You're talking about Eagles tickets. You're talking about concert theater tickets. Sherry'sTickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. No hidden fees. You're not going to get bamboozled at checkout. You're going to know what you're going to pay because you're going to see it on the screen when you're looking at your tickets. And you're going to save an additional 10% off by using that great promo code.
EOP10.
That's right. EOP10 will save you an additional 10% off the already great prices over at Sherry'sTickets.com.
Yeah.
The fact about it, guys, is this was a game that the Diamondbacks had to have. This was their season. Because if the Phillies would have wound up winning this game, there's no way that the Diamondbacks crawl back out of an insurmountable 3-0 hole, despite how hungry of a team that they are. I mean, look, I'm not downgrading any team in the MLB. You're in the NLCS for a reason. But they had to at least get this. And I think everybody who's not living under a rock knew that.
I mean, I look at it like this, Al and Joe. They scored 2 runs in 18 innings. Like, this isn't like they didn't return the favor of the beating we gave them in game 2.
No.
I mean, they won 2-1, and they literally,
Are you going to go with the "we beat ourselves" mantra in this one?
No, I'm not going to say that we beat ourselves because you have to tip your cap. The starting pitcher for Arizona, the kid, Fadot, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, you're saying it. Right.
Fadot. He was awesome. But so was Ranger. You know what I mean? It came down to the bullpens, and I'm sorry. We got Craig Kimbrell, and they don't. And Kimbrell just wasn't on his game tonight. So I'm not blaming the umpires because, I know a lot of people are talking about it, but we were watching the game right here inside the studio, and how many Phillies got away with a couple. Yeah, I mean, the Phillies benefited from a couple. So you can't sit there and go, I mean, the Alec Boehm, when he was up with Harper on, I believe it was Harper was on third.
Yeah.
That was kind of an asinine thing because the ball, the strike that he called a ball to put him up 3-2, and then the ball that he called a strike to strike him out, it was bad, but I mean, it kind of evened itself out there. You know what I mean? So,
our boy Joey Sharon, Phillies suck. Knew it all along. Anybody knows Joe, that's a joke.
Oh, God forbid! Yeah,
right.
They take Joey.
Don't want to take him.
Joey's a troublemaker.
Yeah, don't take him too seriously. Anthony, here, let me get to some of the comments here. Gary Sanchez is pitching. Yes, that's right. So he's excited about that. We'll talk about that in a moment. I don't care who starts. Steven saying, I don't care who starts in Arizona. It's irrelevant to me. In this stadium, we scratch out runs to win. Kirk Green finally learned his lesson. 80% sliders is not going to cut it. I like Sanchez to start. That's James Campbell. We're going to talk about that in a moment. The game was good, but Rob should have had Soto, Kimbrel, Strom. That's a good trio to come out of the bullpen. I mean,
that's kind of slow to roll. I'm not. To me, Soto and Strom are kind of hit or miss. So I mean,
I think I heard that Alvarado only gave up 2 runs this whole postseason. So I'm gonna go with that horse.
Yeah. Exactly. Me and Al were talking about that. Do you move Alvarado back to the 9th inning, and then you put Kimbrel in there? And I'll tell you what, Sir Anthony deserves another shot at this too. I mean, he was getting progressively better as this.
Steven's saying he goes, Phil's averaged 1.8 runs following a double-digit outburst this year. They saw a pitcher for the first time. There's no surprise or shock. I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point. This team does have one. Every time they had a big game, they would definitely come out cold the next game. And this new young pitcher, they always seem to, if they don't see him, they don't know how to deal with him. So like I said, like Joe says, they suck. We knew it all along. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Listen, I'm not going to be able to come out with the energy of an excitement of a win in the post-game show here, but I'm also we're going to analytically break this down. And before we let Joe go, I want to go through some of I know it's not much to look at here, but I do want to go through the lineup here. And, the lineup was what it was as it's been for a while with Kyle Schwarber DHing, who went 0 for 3 with a with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Turner was 1 for 4 with one of the few hits produced tonight with a strikeout. Harper was 0 for 2 with a run on the wild pitch and 2 strikeouts. Bohm was 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Stott was 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Realmuto was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Cassiano was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Marsh was 1 for 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He had that double. I believe that was in the 3rd inning. Yep, 3rd inning. And Rojas was 0 for 3 with a strikeout. 13 total strikeouts.
Everybody in the starting lineup struck out once.
Yeah, for your fighting Phils, and 9 strikeouts for the D-back. So there it is. That is, as Matty B, you can't survive with that many strikeouts. In any game, I don't care, a playoff game. Try to get a win tomorrow. Yeah, that's the kind of key of the game there, Ellis. I want to talk, Joey, before we let you go, I want to ask you a couple questions here, all right? Number one, my question is Rojas. Me and Mike were talking about this during the game, of course, before the game was over, and, how you see Rojas struggling at the plate. You think a guy with his speed, a drag bunt, infield single type situation, do you think they start trying to pull some of that now because they're not hitting, at least after this one game, they weren't hitting like they're used to?
Yeah, and I think the Diamondbacks were kind of on top of that a little bit at one point in the game. There was, I think, a situation when Rojas was up that he tried to drag butt, and both the corner infielders kind of squeezed in. So he still felt like, okay, maybe I could still do it. But as we all know, when you squeeze in the corner infielders, you have to get the ball if you're going to bunt it towards the pitcher. And that's not always an easy feat. You're almost trying to always angle it so it's dancing along that foul line. I also want to comment on Rojas and his fielding tonight. Something that people may not have really realized. This is the first time Rojas has played in this stadium. And so when you don't have sight lines kind of known, you can sometimes lose track of the baseball. And it felt like he did that, especially towards the end when I think it was Marte who hit it long and he just mistracked the ball. He could have caught it if he would have tracked it right. But because he's not been in this field before, the sight lines kind of screwed him up. I think you got someone like him out there for 2 reasons. You don't have him out there for average. You have him out there for speed and defense. So whether that's speed with a bunt and defense with just getting more adjusted. If I'm the Phillies tomorrow and I'm the fielding coach tomorrow, I'm throwing as many pop-ups to Rojas tomorrow during batting practice as much as I possibly can, just to get him adjusted to some of the sight lines so he doesn't kind of walk into that problem anymore in the next 2 games.
Yeah, you know what? And they made a mention about that too, Al, and we didn't bring that up too either. The Phillies didn't take batting practice. Like they didn't take the field and do batting practice today.
Oh, why?
I don't know, but it was
Travel?
mentioned.
Maybe
It was
the
It was mentioned on the telecast that they weren't out. That they weren't out on the field. So that could have been something else too. Because usually, like Joe's saying, it's, you're out there during batting practice. You can kind of get a feel of the field a little bit, even though it was his first game there. You can kind of get a lay of the land. You know what I mean? So.
And guys, real quick before we let Joe go, I'll let you know that you can catch Joe. The next time is going to be Sunday night, late Sunday, maybe even early Monday, depending how long that Eagles-Dolphins game goes. So he will be on our post-game show for the Philadelphia Eagles-Dolphins game. So, Joey, thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to close up the show here, but I appreciate you, man, as always, and we will see you next time, bud.
Later, Joe.
Yep. Go Phils, boys.
All right, man.
Go
Thank
Phils.
you. And that is Joey Marks.
The Hammer.
The Hammer. Check him out. He'll be back with the Pats and FNX, but he'll also be on Sunday, as I just mentioned. You got a couple guys saying, Marky here saying Rojas needs to sit. He's an automatic out.
No, we don't.
Steven says, responding to Martin Malorando is an auto out for the Astros. He's just great. He's just so great defensively. Ross will be in the game. Marsh's center field isn't pretty. Neither is Schwarber's left field. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to pull him, I don't think, at all.
Listen, this kid, a lot of people are excuse, blah, blah, blah. They didn't
make the plays. They didn't get the calls. Moving on. Yeah, I mean, I see what Matty's saying is, yeah, we can sit here and we can chop it up, and that's what we're doing. We're analyzing the game.
We're analyzing the game, Matthew.
Yeah, I know. Come on, boss man. We
God.
gotta let us break it down. I'm not blaming this on the missed calls at all.
I'm not either.
I'm blaming it on the cold bats, and I maybe now that I found I didn't hear him say that earlier, but
yeah, they didn't take batting practice on the field. They said it on telecast, and that to me, I found that kind of odd.
Yeah, I wonder is because they had to travel yesterday, come in, it's time change on top of it being a 2:00 game.
Yeah,
because it's a 2:00 game for them, 5:00 game for us. But sorry, boss. I feel like Matt's going to hit me later. Steve said, was there a plane late or something? Doesn't seem normal not to take BP.
They didn't dive into it, Steve. If you go back and watch the telecast, you'll hear them say that. I believe it was Brian Anderson said that the Phillies. It was matter of fact, it was late in the innings when Marsh was up. So I'm looking.
Maybe they thought they didn't need it.
Maybe top of the eighth. Maybe top of the eighth is when he said it because I remember Marsh was at the plate when he said it.
Maybe they thought they didn't need it. Maybe Topper said, "Listen, guys, you've been playing well. Take some rest. Come out, get ready to play. We got 3 games ahead of us in a row if we lose tonight. So, whatever."
I just look like I'm not like this isn't a loss that I think Arizona's going with a bullpen game tomorrow. So we need this game tomorrow. Then Wheeler can close it out Saturday night. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it don't matter who Arizona. There's been a rumor that Gallen was going to try to come back on 3 days rest.
And here's the thing: is if Wheeler does go on Saturday night, if they win and they close it out, the first World Series game is until Friday the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have him go the next game. So it's not like you're like, oh, we got to worry about that or anything like. Not that you worry about that, but my point is, I mean, hopefully it plays out that way. We're kind of going with the bullpen game too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got. Listen, guys, I want to remind everybody we got a bunch of guys who have not pitched in many days here.
They had
September.
Who did they have this past week? They had thrown simulated games.
They had
Sanchez and Walker throwing simulated games. And Lorenzen he's happy to be in the bullpen. So maybe they don't like working Thursdays. Hell.
I'm not saying anything to you guys anymore. You all twist my words.
I didn't twist nothing.
Yeah. You guys can kiss my ass. I'm going to say that. Guys, speaking of Red October, speaking of the Phillies on Arizona, tomorrow, if you're out there and you're one of those awesome Philly fans who got a chance to go out there, the Red October tailgate takeover with Philly Sports Trip from 1 to 4 at the Deuce.
That's right, the Deuce. It's a short walk from the stadium.
And hopefully the Phillies will be taking a Deuce on the field there tomorrow.
I think they will.
It's a short walk from the stadium. Go to phillysportstrip.com. Also, if you're going to be staying around town, you're going to the Eagles game, looking for a great tailgate. Don't want to lug the grills. Don't want to lug the coolers and all that other stuff. You guys can come. You can come over to Casino Live, the Live Casino in Philadelphia, just a couple blocks away from the stadium. all that's taken care of for you and more. The food's amazing. The drink's amazing. The atmosphere's amazing.
Go
Check
there
it
for the
out.
tailgate, and if you don't have a ticket for the game, you could either probably end up getting one there, or you can just go right inside live and watch the game right inside their beautiful sports book. So.
Yeah, so you're just down there, check it out. And all the away games are also covered because I know they're coming up with soon. They're gonna head down to Washington, so you guys can get on that bus trip as well. PhillySportsTrips.com. Tell them EOP sent you. So let's go to a couple of comments here. Hopefully they're not breaking my stones too much as we've been so far. Brad saying, "What's up, guys? Arizona's going to lose tomorrow, and Phillies will win tomorrow." Well, Brad, I like
your words to God's ears, buddy.
Yeah, Brad, I'm on board with that. Phillies will win tomorrow. They will beat the D-backs and move on to the World Series. Yep. I mean, let's just hope it works that way. I mean, I don't expect the sweep in an NLCS.
We're getting a gentleman's sweep. I'm saying it's done Saturday.
That's a very doable sweep. But I mean, it's hard to sweep any team in the NLCS. No matter how
hasn't been done. When was the last time there was a sweep in the LCS?
I'll have to check that out. Well, last year. Last year.
Well, no, I'm talking about nationally.
Yeah.
Nationally.
You
of course.
LCS, but yeah.
I'm sorry. I meant to say nationally. Usually, they're usually pretty competitive.
See, Steve, why'd you have to say this? As long as we don't pull the 96 Braves, we should be okay.
What's the 96 Braves got to do it? Oh, they choked.
Yeah. The Braves choked. They were
in the World Series, though. They lost to the Yankees that year. So,
yeah. Well, they let's stop the presses. The Braves have choked in the past. So,
every year.
But like I said, the only thing I'm worried about, I'd say, is with this game tomorrow is the offense has to come back alive. They got to learn to play a little more small ball. This is not the atmosphere
But don't it feel like they're going to bounce back tomorrow? Like, to me, I don't know. I just have this overwhelming, and it's not, it's just from, I guess,
Maddie's B saying, the bright side, I won't have to lower myself and be with the people on Friday night in Mayfair.
No, you'll have to wait Saturday to go to Frankfurt.
He's going to be in here with me.
Yeah.
So, by the way, just so you guys know, and I will throw this up here too for you guys. We have the lineup set for you guys coming. Why is it not showing up in here? Oh, that sucks. Hold on, I got it over here. But we have the lineup set because Mike's gonna be a tired boy.
Yeah.
But the lineup is set because tomorrow he'll be back in studio.
Right here, I will be right here along with my broadcast partner, Pat Bernard. I don't know if Pat will be in studio or not. That's to be determined. Right now he's scheduled to be here.
He's scheduled to be in here, and then Friday or Saturday, because it's going to be needed. It says if needed here, but it will be needed one way or the other. I will be in here with Maddie B, hopefully closing a series, an NLCS win out, and sending the Fighting Phils.
I don't know. I may pop in. It all depends on what time I'm done the family function.
Yeah, especially check it out. Like an 8 o'clock game. Both games are at 8:07 pitch. So expect some late Phillies breakdowns here at EOP. So, guys, please join us. And if you're listening and you're watching and you're on the Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, guys, hit that subscribe button
and like button.
This is how how we do what we do. We want to bring more to you. Always taking copious notes, doing a lot of work for you guys. Just bringing the entertainment and helping you guys. Maybe even a little psychiatry for you. Here, getting through these tough losses because it's a tough.
We have to take notes, but between our brains, we can't go with no notes. So,
but they rarely stay in any type of offensive funk this year. Yeah, you're right. Like there wasn't too many.
I think
full team slumps.
Yeah,
and like I said, I think this team's loose. I think they're back out there. I'm not worried about it. I'll worry about it tomorrow. Like it's a bullpen game. If they're not getting any hits, and it looks like. I see a lot of K's that I'm seeing on my paperwork now. Yeah, I'm going to be a little upset. I'm going to be a little nervous. But, if we can start stringing some hits together, this team can manufacture runs. You keep us off the base path so we can't steal. It's a different story. I mean, we had so many steals so far, like the most in postseason right now. So,
I mean, listen, Arizona gets paid. Oh,
we're not going to even read it. Just let it go. I should have read it. I didn't even notice who it was from. Should have read it. We're going to let them go. Just watch the Flyers game, bud. Speaking of, guys, tonight after we are done.
Attacking the Third?
Attacking the Third will be on at 9 o'clock.
And then
the Clear the Ice. Clear the Ice is back for all you Flyers fans.
Yes.
Clear the Ice is back, and Pat is on the call tonight for Clear the Ice, hopefully wearing pants.
Hopefully. For your guys' sake.
Real quick, let's go through this because it's painful. We have to. Let's look at the pitching lineup for the Phillies. The pitching lines for the Phillies. Ranger just threw a gem.
5
1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Hoffman, not as Hoffman had a great he closed that out 2/3 of an inning with a strikeout. Kirkering, not as fun.
Yeah.
It's where kind of
listen, he's a rook. I don't care. Yeah. Like you got to throw him in there. I mean, Al, his stuff is electric.
Oh yeah,
it's electric. I don't have a problem
work on some other pitches. You can't go.
Yeah, he can't go 80% sliders, and you can't leave him up. He'll learn from it.
Yeah, Kirkering went 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run. Would tie the game at that point. Alvarado just
lights out.
Just is 2 innings pitched. And I want to go to my stats because it's a little bit more. So guys, just so you know, Kirkering let up a single to Pham, a double to Gurriel, and Gurriel, how do you say Gurriel? And a single to Smith. But you allowed the run. You had guys on the corners, no outs. Alvarado comes in and puts up a double play, which you would think would score.
Yeah, Gurriel did not run on that.
No,
that was his own fault.
And then he gets the ground out, shuts the door on that. Momentum looked to be shifting. You would hope it would help the offense, but obviously it didn't. He would come in the 8th inning, start with a strikeout. He let up the 1 double, which was a little misplayed from Rojas not being out there, and then the intentional walk that came. But he would end the inning there, and then Kimbrel is the rest of it. He went 1/3 of an inning, let 2 hits,
they got 1 out,
1 earned run, and a walk and 2 walks. So.
Yeah, he got 1. I mean, like this is the part that if I'm Topper, man, tomorrow, Kimbrel's not touching the ball.
Well, he probably going to be sitting because it's day of rest because it's 2 games in a row. That's what's going to happen. Because that's my point is if it comes to it with this bullpen game. Now, a Phillies bullpen game, I ask you guys, hey, JB,
what do you want? No, I'm just kidding.
Flyers are up 1-0. Thank you, Steve, for paying attention.
That should be a good game. I'm sorry. I know we're doing the Vikings, but Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl coming in here to play the Flyers. Always.
Yep. It's going to be a little different than our standard bullpen game. I mean,
I think so too. I don't think you're going to run out there with Strom and they got to go with you
go Sanchez Walker, right?
Sanchez
if
Walker.
If they get you 6 innings, the 2 of them, are you going Lorenzen, depending on where they're at in the game?
You could, because then if you go Sanchez, Walker, Lorenzen. Even if you get Lorenzen for say an inning or 2.
I mean, here's the other thing: Alvarado has not really gone much back to back all year long until the postseason. Is he unavailable tomorrow?
This is where I think you use Soto and you put Sir Anthony in.
Sir Anthony. So
and the reason why is, and I know a lot of people are going to clap back with Sir Anthony because he didn't have a good year. But again, this guy, it's a different time of year. It's a different beast, and he's looked good in this postseason.
So I mean, that's pretty much all you have left. That's not pitched tonight.
I mean, you still have Strom too, but I mean,
well, we said Strom. I don't know. Maybe they try to save. I mean, I don't know.
You got to save a couple pitches for Saturday.
Well, I think nobody who pitched. I don't think anybody who pitched tonight, depending on how the game goes, pitches again. Today. I mean, till Saturday. Because I think you don't see Kimbrel, probably don't see Alvarado, Hoffman, maybe. I
mean, he could.
Kirkering. I mean, I don't know.
You know what? I would let Kirkering.
I mean, if it's not a leveraged situation, you let Kirkering go out there and get his feet wet again.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I know people are probably going to want to kill, but I mean, who are you going to put in there if you got your 2 best? Your top 2 relievers are going to be off. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. You saw what happened last year when you used Alvarado too much.
Matty B's 2-0 Flyers. So for those who are, so hopefully, have a Philly win somewhere tonight. But like I said, I'm not nervous I'll get nervous when I need to be nervous about it. And right now, I don't need to be nervous. It's not.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you think Arizona goes in panic mode? Because there was a rumor that Zach Gallen might be gearing up to go on 3 days rest to pitch against Phillies.
I think that's terrible.
I think if they do that,
if this was they won 3-0, they lost tonight, maybe.
Yeah.
And even then, I mean, we tried that with Cliff Lee. Was it 09? Didn't work out. I mean, I don't believe that, man. I mean, if he only went like 50 pitches and he didn't feel too tired, the guy struggled through.
That's another thing too. Like, all right, if he doesn't go, Gallen doesn't go tomorrow,
Mhm.
and he goes Saturday, do you think Lavelle's thinking was, if I pull this kid with only 70 pitches tonight, we have a bullpen game tomorrow. We'll see where we fall there. If we do got to go into Game 5, which is elimination game, now you basically have Zach Gallen, kid who pitched tonight, and the guy from Game 2, all ready to go.
I don't think you do. Here's my idea. I don't think you go Gallen tomorrow because you won tonight.
That's what I'm saying.
You won tonight, so there's no reason because there's at least a fifth game, so you can at least have your better player come into that fifth game if you need him. I don't see you doing that. I think that's just terrible.
I just
idea.
like the way he pulled that kid.
What's up, Fuge?
What's up, Fuge? The way that kid he got pulled tonight. 70 pitches and he already had 9 Ks. Like, you heard that crowd. That crowd was booing the decision. Play by play with JJ. Worst case scenario for the Phillies is with this offense. Best case scenario.
So worst case. So JJ and JJ does great play by play. So he probably had the game going on and he was live during that. I watch him a lot with a lot of these things. Worst case scenario, the Phillies with the offense, and the best case scenario for the defense. I'm guessing he's saying this is the best case scenario with this lineup versus their lineup. In this bullpen action, I would imagine that's what he's putting out there.
Right.
But yeah. Yes, you're welcome, bud. In this game, he's saying in this game it was, worst case scenario for us, best case scenario for them.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I'm not like, if you're looking at this, really, if you're going to go first 3 games of this series, 3 games, that's 27 innings. They scored a total of 5 runs in 27 innings.
Oh, and I'd be remiss because I feel like Matty B is going to yell at me.
Oh boy,
I got to go through the scoring.
Harper scored on a wild pitch. What's the kid's name here? Pat Smith knocked in a run.
Gurriel knocked in the ground ball to knock in.
Yeah, Pat Smith knocked in the Alex Thomas.
No,
Alex Thomas has scored the run.
Yeah, but Gurriel hit the double, didn't he?
No, Gurriel hit a double, but it was yeah, you're right.
And then
Smith
Marte,
hit,
of course, with
Smith
a
hit the symbol. Yeah, no. You talking about in the 9th?
Well, I'm talking about the 7th with
the 7th. Yeah, the 7th. It was Alex Thomas was pitching running for Pham.
Yeah.
Gurriel hit the double down that line.
Was a tie game.
Yeah, that tied it up, and then Marte hit a single, and Gurriel walked it off.
Yeah.
So Matty B, there's your scoring. You can't yell at us now.
Can't get Daddy won't yell at us. This wasn't even a dominant game. I have yet to see a team dominate the Phillies. That's a good point. JJ brings up a good point. Like, I don't want to be stamped as a homer right yet, but the 2 games that we've lost in the postseason
were winnable games.
We're like, I don't want to say we lost them. They didn't beat us.
Listen, game 2 against Atlanta, we
lost it. Yeah,
we gave it to them.
But this one, it was just
This one, it just didn't seem like they could. They no matter what.
It wasn't like a 5-0 or a 5-1 game where they just
couldn't get going.
Yeah.
Like, and again, you got to tip the cap to the starting pitcher. I mean,
look at this right now. I mean, if you peek at this, our starting pitcher so far this whole postseason, Suarez is a 0.64 ERA.
I had to throw it out that. We both were like, what?
Yeah,
0.64.
Right. I was like, is this a typo? Wheeler has hold on 1 second.
Was it like a 1 point something ERA?
He has a 2.37.
2.37
in this postseason, and Aaron Nola is 0.96. So you have 2 guys sub 1 ERA. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just I don't know. Do you think I don't see the Diamondbacks surviving past Saturday now? I really don't. I just don't think. Look at who we got going. You know what I mean? Even with the bullpen game going. You know what I mean? Like I just really don't see. Do you really see their bullpen? I mean, look at all the guys they had to use tonight, and they used all their top guys tonight. You think they're going to bring their top guys back in again tomorrow?
Well, that's my thing. Is like that. Both teams going to the well as quickly as they did might. I think this plays in the favor of the Phillies because we have guys who have started games. 3 guys who have started games for us this season in the bullpen. I don't want to see Lorenzen in there right now. Don't get me wrong. But you got Sanchez, who's been very serviceable, but again, has not pitched in September. You have Taijuan Walker, who has been a little up and down, but has not been pitched since September. And you have Michael Lorenzen. All guys.
He just pitched and mopped up duty. So,
yeah. So, and they did, like you said, I think it was on Sunday, they had
the inner squad.
Yeah, whatever, or inner squad, or whatever.
Not inner squad, but game or whatever.
JJ said, I will say though, the Phillies' plate discipline was horrendous, and I'd be shocked if that happens again. One of the other takeaways, I'd be shocked if Orion is used in a high leverage situation. I agree with you. I think he won't, unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't think he's going to be in any more high leverage situations twice this postseason. It's kind of come and bit him in the butt. So, listen, the guy has only been in the major leagues since September 20th or whatever it was when he came up.
Yeah, like the kid literally went through all the ranks of Major League Baseball this season. So
yeah, I mean, other than that, guys, I want to thank you for joining us tonight, guys. Phillies lose 2-1. Series is still lead the series 2-1. But I want to thank our awesome sponsors over at PhillySportsTrips.com. Like I said, if you're out in Arizona, check it out. If not, if you're going to be home, go to the tailgate for the Eagles game over at the Live Casino. If you need tickets to anything at all, and anywhere in the country, sports, theaters, you name it, use that promo code EOP10. Save 10% off at Sherry'sTickets.com. If you're looking for a great way to have a good time, watch the game locally here in Delco, the most Delco bar, Dolan's Bar. That's right off of 95. So if you're coming from south from Delaware or north from Philadelphia Airport area, check it out.
It's the opposite way out. Coming south from the city.
North
from Delaware.
Yeah, sorry.
You're going to get people
I'm doing
wrong directions.
Yeah, I'm doing 95 south. So Quizzo Music, great times. Remember, great place to watch the game. Great place. Check it out. Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Avenue. Other than that,
you forgot. You never know who you're going to run into there.
You never know. You never know who you're going to run into there. You never know. And if you run into the wrong person or you get ran into while you're on the streets, go to David R. Cherry. That's right. Cherry Injury Law, Workers' Comp, Motor Vehicle, Personal Injury, Criminal Law, CherryInjuryLaw.com, 610-565-0300, CherryInjuryLaw.com. Like I said, tomorrow on the call will be the Matt and Pat connection, or the Mike and Pat connection with PM and the AM. You guys are going to be sick of each other by Sunday.
I'm already sick of them.
Well, it's true. But that's 3 times this week you guys will be working together. This will be the second time, and of course Sunday for your official PM and the AM.
Which we'll be reviewing the Phillies moving on.
Hopefully, and I'll be there happily with you. Here is the rest of the lineup for the week. Tonight, you have the attacking third. I have it at 10 here. I think they might do it 9, and since we're getting done a little earlier than we expected, I'll let you guys just keep your eye on hit the subscribe button, and you'll get the notification for all you Union fans. And, of course, after the Flyers game, Pat will be on the call for Clear the Ice. Other than that, I'm Big Al.
And I'm Mike Lauro.
We'll see you guys soon, and go Phils.
Go Phils.